Hi, folks. As people are joining in, go ahead in the chat, put your name and your zip code, just so that we can see what part of Fontana you're calling from. And Jennifer and Jocelyn, I have made you co-hosts. If you could help me manage the waiting room and make sure that folks. I have an echo, hold on. And let folks in as they dial in. Thank you so much.
Got you, Bobby Joe.
All right. Okay, again, new folks coming in, go ahead and type in your name and your zip code. If you're just dialing in, feel free to unmute yourself and tell us where you're calling from and your name.
Oh, hello, this is Marissa. I reside in Fontana. My zip code is 92337.
Bobby Joe, when will we know if folks need translation?
Not yet. I don't. We'll ask folks.
Folks calling in, put your name in the chat, not your name, your zip code and your name, yeah, in the chat.
Okay, we're gonna wait a couple of minutes. I know that this is very last minute. We'll really get started in at about 7:45. Well, maybe 7:42 because I think that's a good time. 7:42. So please go ahead and grab yourself some water or some tea or whatever you need. Get comfortable. And again, as you're arriving, go ahead and drop your name and zip code in the chat. We want to see where folks are calling from. And let me introduce you to Jacida, one of our co-hosts, and Jennifer Cardenas, another co-host and Fontana resident, as well as a Sierra Club organizer. So those are some folks that are here already. So we'll be right back.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
Okay, folks, we'll get started in about 5 minutes. In the meantime, go ahead and drop your name and zip code in the chat. We know where you're calling from. And again, this call is being recorded for so that we can share this information with additional folks who couldn't make it tonight. So if you don't want your face on the recording, turn off your camera. But otherwise, we are going to have a presentation. So most of the time, that presentation will be on the screen anyway. So again, just joining us, drop your name and name and zip code in the chat. Welcome everyone. Hi Gabby, yay. Hi Cynthia. Hey there Liz. Hey Marissa. Jocelyn, David, yay. This is great. Thanks everyone for the short notice and just jumping on and being ready to save Southridge Wildlands. Okay, 3 more minutes. Thank you, everyone. See if there's anyone else that you can send the link to and have them join the call. That would be great as well. I don't know if I don't remember if I said hi to you, Jasmine. Hi, Jasmine.
Hello.
Thanks for joining in.
So I went to the FedEx earlier today, and the printouts are beautiful. I didn't read through all of them, but the color looked good. They were 3-hole punch, stapled, and they made it to their destination. Well, a good portion of them did.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay. Do you have a copy that you could like show on camera right now?
No.
No.
I kept them in my car, and I'm in the bathroom with my kids while they take a bath.
Awesome. Multitasking as always. Okay.
I have one though.
Okay.
Sure.
Oh, nice. Okay. Thanks, Jas. And for the recording, just so you all know, we will, of course, edit out this waiting time. But I do appreciate all the folks who were able to jump on so quickly with such short notice and, and joined us on time. I'm sure we have some folks that might join in. We don't have an Instagram page started yet. Good question. Right now, we just have the website. That's a good question, David. Thank you. So yeah, we can talk more about like that campaign stuff. But in the meantime, we just want to get everyone up to speed at where we are and what is happening. So let's begin the slide deck so that everyone can see what's going on, and I will turn on my camera so y'all can see me. Hi, everyone. All right. So thanks for joining in. Some of you know me. I am Babito Chavarria, longtime Fontana resident and wife and mother of 2 young boys, 14 and 11. And it's 11. And so then that's where I'm at. This is our breaking news virtual campaign office, our first update about what is happening with the referendum to the community. We do have some community partners, and I will admit that I am part and or supporter of every single one of these organizations, starting with the South Montana Concerned Citizens Coalition, member of the Facebook group, and helping where I can. CCAEJ, the local community partner, where we have some of the employees, some of the staff from the org live in the community, as well as their ongoing support for the work that community members are doing. Sierra Club, I am the chair of the San Gorgonio chapter of the Sierra Club, which covers both San Bernardino and Riverside County. And it was the first lawsuit that the city faced against a warehouse developer and the city was from our chapter of the Sierra Club. And so we were able to do some mitigation and stuff like that. We have not been able to stop a project, but we have been able to try to make them a little less harmful, a little bit better. But correction, we have not been able to stop a warehouse project until this week. And some of you might know about that. Sunrise Movement, Grow Fontana, Progressive Alliance of the Inland Empire, those are other community organizations here that have been interested in sustainable development, that are talking about a Green New Deal. Progressive Alliance is just a shared resource hub, including the Zoom line. So this is available to community groups. This Zoom line that is paid for by the Progressive Alliance. And Fontana Fast Forward is what we've been operating off of to bring all of these community partners together. So I just want to let you folks know who we are and where this has started, but mostly it is community members like you. And you are welcome to find out more about any of these organizations, join them. I know all of us, all of the groups, need support, need more volunteers. And this is how we're going to win, is when we collaborate. Some of you folks who have been attending the weekly meetings at the park, this might look familiar. This is the flyer that we were handing out, showing folks the project and giving them a chance to sign up and fill out a survey. It was those surveys that we turned into the city council for on Tuesday. The written comments, we had over 200 people filled out that petition and sent their comments. And I want to say that only 3 people were in support. So pretty much a 99% rate of against this project destroying our wildlands. So what happened at this council meeting was a long meeting with very complicated things. Here's Jennifer Cardenas. She's holding the binder of just the backup material for the public hearing. It was over 700-800 pages, released on Thursday afternoon. And this is part of what supposedly the community, our council members, were supposed to make an informed decision off of. We did submit cards to speak against the warehouse, to speak against the wildlands. But because there was a larger amount of folks, people were really angry to find that the mayor dropped the speaking time from 3 minutes per item to 1 minute each. And so, it was really frustrating. And there was really no, even a kind of an apology or an explanation of sorry, it was just obnoxious. I think a lot of folks will feel that. Then again, the 201 written comments, and then I know that our Sierra Club attorney, we had sent her this project, and she submitted a letter again for the public hearing against the Southridge Wildlands project as well. So that's what happened at the council meeting. And then we all know they voted for it. Approved by the council 4-1. Councilman Sandoval was the only one to vote against every single item on the planned hearing. agenda, part 1, part 2, part 3, and so it passes. But we already knew that. We already knew they were going to pass it, and we were already in the works of the citizen referendum. And there was and Liz, get ready. I'm going to turn it over to you to explain what you did and what is happening now. But we had 3 days after the decision to file a citizen referendum, which is a process in which citizens can directly propose and put a proposed law or policy change up for a vote. It's done through a petition process where a certain number of signatures are collected to trigger a vote. And the idea behind a citizen referendum is to give ordinary citizens a direct say in the decision-making and legislation. So do me a favor and put a star in the chat if you submitted a written comment, filled out that survey that we turned in the other day at the city council meeting. If you were one of the 201 folks who put in awesome. Of course, thank you so much, everyone. Okay, so Liz, here's what happened. What happened on Thursday? Can you show the folks? I'm showing the folks the letter and the receipt date by the city clerk. Can you explain what this means?
Sure. So basically, after the city council went ahead and took their vote and approved for amending the general plan, as Bobby Joe mentioned, the referendum is an action taken by a citizen, but the thing of it is that we only had 3 days to file this referendum. And interestingly enough, the city of Fontana is not open on Friday. And so really, we only had 2 days to work on it. Thankfully, with the folks over in Rialto who have essentially gone through a very, very similar process, they were able to kind of guide us and point us in the right direction. And I essentially connected with an attorney who helped us with the technical portion of the referendum. There's certain language that needs to be, said, and even after that, there were some corrections. And so essentially, I went over to the city clerk. I just a little backstory too. I believe on Wednesday, we had some folks call the city clerk and ask, if we would be able to file a referendum against the actions or the votes that were taken by the city council. And surprisingly enough, the city clerk's office was like, no, you can't. Once the city council has taken a vote, there's really nothing you can do. You can't file a referendum. And that's something that I think is important to point out, because like everything else, it's important to know your rights. And if we would have just been ordinary people and the office of the city clerk would have told us that, perhaps we would have said, okay, thank you, and then just let it go by. But really, that's inaccurate, and we confirmed with our attorney that was inaccurate. And so I basically told the attorney, like, I'm on my way to go file this. If it gets done and I get the stamp of approval, I'll send you a photo of it. If I call you, it's because I'm in trouble. And luckily, all I had to do was just take a picture and send it over. So they accepted it. And then the following day, on Friday, I believe it was like at 5 o'clock. It was like 4:50. We got a response back from, 4:47. There you go. We got a response back from the city attorney.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's tons of problems with all of this process. including the fact that we got the response back so late on Friday, typically on not a city business day. But I don't think the law accounts for that, that kind of special thing. So we are going to be asking for clarification from the city clerk's office. But as far as we know, this is where we're at. I want to take a moment for folks to just drop in the chat hearts, applause, react for the work that Liz did to work and make sure that all of this language that we shared and submitted was correct, was legal. We didn't have a back and forth with the city attorney. Yes, please give Liz some great appreciation and the folks in Rialto who helped guide us and even some in Ontario who had done a referendum, who helped guide us through this process so that when we got the bad information that it's not possible to overturn this. I believe the quote, and I can share this recording with you once we edit out the name of who it went to, but the message was, the city council vote is final. They're final. They're the final word. So that is not true. The law provides, in a democracy, the law provides people to question their government, challenge their government, and Liz did all this great work to make it happen. So yay, everyone. Thanks for showing some love to Liz, because it was a nerve-wracking experience, I believe. But she has now, with her work and the rest of us, we are now able to challenge the city, and this is what it takes. We have to gather some signatures. And if you're interested in participating, we're going to talk more about that. But it is a strict deadline of 30 days. Maybe starting from July 29th, maybe yesterday, or maybe starting Monday, or maybe ending on Sunday the 27th when the office is not open. So then do we get an extra day? We need to get some clarification on that. But the details of that don't matter. We need to get started right now. What we need is 12,518 signatures. And I'll tell y'all how that breaks down. But first, how to be a petition signature gatherer in California. You must be a resident of California or a U.S. citizen. So people from out of state could come in as long as they're a U.S. citizen. But if you're here in California and a resident, you can collect signatures. You do have to be over 18, and you cannot be convicted of or currently charged with any election-related crime, felony, or any other crime related to forgery, fraud, or misrepresentation. And then we're going to also clarify, because the petition pertains to a local city issue, we have to comply with additional requirements. Just double check what the city of Fontana might have as their requirements, and know that we might get the runaround from the city clerk because they're not as forthcoming with the information as possible as they should be, and we'll have to decide if it's incompetence or if it's deliberately not understanding what we are asking for and then pretending like they don't know the answer. But that's where we are. As so far right now, if you're any of those, drop a star. If you know anybody who qualifies to be a signature gatherer, drop a star in the chat. Awesome. Thank you, David. So it's not that hard to be a signature gatherer person. So, but what's next? What does this mean? This is part one of the campaign. And we'll explain how it goes along. We have to collect signatures from 10% of the registered voters in the city of Fontana, and we have to turn those signatures all at once to the city clerk for verification. And here's the number, Cynthia, that you were asking for. The 10% is 113,800 voters times 10%. We need 11,380. But we want to add a cushion for errors, address changes, illegible signers, like the things you can't read. If they can't be verified, then it can't be counted. And so we're going to actually overshoot, and our goal is 10% more, 12,518 signatures. And here's the breakdown. We don't have several months for this. We have until, and as of right now, we are considering August 24th to be the day. So the number is 12,515. Get that, ingrain that in your memory, in your short-term memory, so that we are thinking eating, breathing, and sleeping for the next couple of weeks, 12,518. If we were to break this down for volunteers who could do maybe 4 hours, and that would include some break time, it would include some training, it would include some debriefing, it would include, and then some time knocking on doors or being at somewhere and putting petitions, and we'll talk about that. But if in 4 hours we could collect 25 signatures a shift, we would need 501 shifts. Meaning we need, so if you could volunteer for a couple of shifts in the next few weeks of 4 hours, put that in the chat. And I am going to I think I can do like a good 10 hours or 10 shifts. So then go ahead and put the number that you think you might be able to do to collect some signatures. And that could be just, going to your neighbors and spending a shift or whatever. Yes, Elizabeth. Liz, what's your question?
I was doing the math earlier too on like how, what it was going to look like. And so essentially if we divide 12,000 over 30 days, it's roughly about 400 signatures per day that we need to get. And I mean, that's another way, right, to look at it too.
Absolutely.
And so every day we have to be getting about 400 signatures. And if we were to get a solid commitment of like 30 people, like strong volunteers, it would require them to get about 13 signatures per day of 30 people for the next 30 days. Like that's kind of another way, to look at it. So every day we have to be clocking in cumulatively 400 signatures, and if we get 30 solid committed volunteers, we need 13 signatures a day. When I was doing the Rialto run, I did about 6, 7, 8 signatures in 1 hour.
Right.
So it's definitely doable. We just have to be committed, and it's just like a quick, really focused turn.
I love it. I love it because, different people really appreciate a different kind of breakdown. So I'm saying 501 shifts of 4 hours for the next month. You're saying 400 signatures a day, which actually equals about 8 people working every day. And then we'll be able to do this. So Rebecca, you had a question?
Yes, not a question, more of just like a comment. I know we're referring to 30 days, but I really liked how at the meeting on Friday that the lady from Rialto went, and she recommended that we try to have a deadline for ourselves for the signatures by like the 28th day, just to give us a cushion, just in case we can't. So I think that would be a good goal for us to focus on versus it being the full 30 days.
Right. And that is why we are saying that our deadline is August 24th, because we just need to make sure we get it done, and we don't under a technicality lose out on the chance to fight this project because we counted wrong or because we just missed something. So August 24th is our day for sure. So here's where we are going to come together and figure stuff out. Some of this stuff is still in process. Some of this stuff is a work in progress, but we do have a ton of information available already. And so this is the this is the plan, our virtual campaign office. And Liz, you're the one who kind of put this idea out because we needed to get started right away. Do you want to explain what this means as far as you knew it, and then I'll explain what we put together so far.
Oh, well, it was just an idea at the time, but I mean, yeah, it's basically that. I mean, I've been kind of like analyzing, I know there's some great veterans here that have done a lot of marvelous job in campaigning. Like, I think we have some people that like help campaign for Bernie and maybe Obama, and like all those are essentially long term. And when I think of this referendum, I think of 30 days, like that's it. And what a better way than to just start our campaigning with a virtual type headquarter. And it can be anywhere. I mean, what I'm trying to do is, like, for instance, yesterday I hit up a lot of people on Facebook that have reached out to me at some point over the last 2 years, and just kind of connecting with them. And I contacted like 30 people yesterday. My next step is to then figure out like where exactly they live, so that I can start kind of calculating my steps. But I am thinking that I'm gonna probably open up my home as a potential headquarter, during the evening once I get home from work, so that if folks wanted to come pick up a packet, they can. I can certainly drop off packets to them and just kind of make it work. And yeah, the virtual headquarters, I think, works. I know Rialto had a headquarter, and they basically had it open from like 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. And there were some people that came through, but I think that we can make it work virtually.
Yeah. No, I mean, so there's two reasons, and I will talk about this. But Jaws and David first, and then Jaws. Liz, thank you.
Yeah, can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I just, I got joined with you guys late. I gave you guys the photos for the drones that you guys have up on the website, but we've been very active with the mountain bike community, and luckily that's why I keep asking about the social media presence, because I check my email regularly, so I saw this pop up. But I would be more than willing to get the information out to the community, especially because we have a lot of people that go out weekly to this area. So if I can assist with that, we'll be more than happy to help. But the second part I just want to bring up, just because this kind of caught my eye, because I was reading a couple articles, I believe one was in the Fontana Herald, about that some of this justification the city's using for this area. And I this is not at all to take away from what this project is doing, but I experienced a lot of that, unfortunately, firsthand last week when I was there. There was heavy drug use, a lot of homeless, and there was people engaging in behavior that were trying to hide from me and my drone. So I think we need to have something to at least counter those talking points to people that have visited this park that we can talk about, especially when gathering signatures, because it's going to come up if they've experienced this firsthand. I don't think we should, the city should take over just because of that, but it's prevalent there, unfortunately, and just on that hour that I spent getting video and pictures.
Okay. Yeah, I actually talked with some of those folks and got, and they signed up for the campaign because they are using it as a resource right now during this difficult economic time, during the unaffordable dearth of unaffordable housing. And so, I think there is a community conversation of how we help those folks, how we keep our community safe. And really we point out, well, we don't want to do this yet because we don't want to displace violently anyone, but really point out that the city is deliberately neglecting the safety of that area so that they can have their talking point. And so we're going to have to figure out, but that, I think that is a sort of a side issue, but it's a great point that you bring up, David, that we're going to have to counter for sure. Okay. Thank you, and thank you for the pictures. Everybody, give David another star, a bunch of stars. I will share. If you would drop in the link to your drone pictures, they're amazing. They're amazing. Jocelyn.
Hey everyone, it's Jaws. I live right here on Canyon Crest, so this is literally like my backyard. And my family brought attention to this to me, and then I saw that all of you were actively campaigning against this. I just came back from Chicago. My house can be used as a hub for this area and on Canyon Crest. I already got the documents here that I'm gonna be passing out. I'm just gonna go ahead and get petitions. I'm gonna show it now, Bobby Joe, if that's okay with you, since I have the
Please.
mic.
Yes, please.
Everyone, this is the beautiful handout with a lot of good information. It's 3-hole punch. And it has really good pictures. David, your stuff's on there. Look at that. So this is, I got a good amount. But yeah, one of the things I know that Liz mentioned, like this is a really short-term campaign. This is going to be 4 weeks. Yes, 30 or more people would be a great way to start. At the same time, multifaceted. We could do a digital campaign. I was talking to one of our consultants, and we were talking about texting program. Some of these programs charge at the end of at the end of a month. So we have like a monthly plan, because simultaneously we do need to fundraise a little bit of money for this, so that we could have some of the resources and maybe potentially even hopefully, hire some paid folks to do signatures. But because the heat, we have to take into account, this is one of the hottest months coming up as well, for folks to be out on the field, especially outside of markets and all that. So we definitely need to put a plan in place where weekends we can utilize the more capacity to get the more signatures at these grocery stores, especially like Cardenas or Stater Brothers and all those ones that are in this neck of the woods. But at the same time, I think if we do a texting program, we can alert folks. And it's kind of like what Liz has been doing, which is vote tripling, right? When you reach person to reach another person to reach another person, every person knows 5 people. So if you reach 5 people, then you reach 25 people, and then it keeps multiplying. So we're putting together a campaign plan that is going to be like your checklist for folks to be able to get as many signatures as possible. But yeah, my house is here on Canyon Crest, right up the hill. Literally, my parents just celebrated their 50th wedding anniversary yesterday. And let me tell you, I took the video and I can see that my beautiful canyons in the back. And hell no, would I want things to be built in the back of my home. So, and I know one of the things, and this is just my political hat on, and I know it's gonna sound pretty messed up, but sometimes these not just developers, but these political folks that don't care about human decency, they'll pay people to act homeless or to put them in places purposely so that folks get agitated and they go with what they want. And this is just my political hat that I'm putting on, not necessarily my humanity hat, because my humanity hat is, instead of like these developers building condos and shit, they should build wraparound services, mental facilities for folks that actually, keep our community safer, but also ensure the health and wellness of all our residents and all our citizens. Just the other day, here on Live Oak and right by the fire station here on Live Oak, there was a person passed out on the corner, and I had to call the fire station. I'm like, excuse me, you have a person passed out in front of your building, like, like it's literally like right there. And they're like, what? I'm like, yeah, like you can go outside, they're like right there. So there's a lot of things that we definitely need to invest more money in, instead of like building overpopulated community that is already dealing with a lot of environmental injustice for short-term solution and short-term beautification. So so all that to say is that we can do this. We just need to be strategic about it, and hopefully with the leadership of Bobby Joe, Liz, and Jennifer and Jasmine and others, we can definitely get this done. So I'm glad to be home for as long as I can, hopefully for a long time. again, back, my parents are in their senior year, so I want to make sure that it's a peaceful time for them and not necessarily a displacement time for them. So I'll pass on back to you, Bobby Joe.
Thank you. Thank you. And I know Oscar has joined in the call, but I do want to keep us a little bit focused on going back to what both Jazz and Liz were saying in the idea of a staging location. What we need is to be everywhere. And we don't necessarily need a centralized campaign office, even though it would be great if that we could, we could count on a place where that's always open or could always be open, that sort of thing. But then you have to worry about staffing it, that sort of thing. So what we are looking for is support of volunteers and supporters throughout the city to host staging locations. And we'll give you the training, the materials, the details that you need. We'll show, and then it's yours to run. But really what it involves is just providing a space for volunteers to gather and plan their activities. And it could be like, oh, I'm going to go here. I'm going to hit these doors here. You might have voter lists that we'll send out into neighborhoods. You'll work on your own neighborhood, and volunteers from your neighborhood could go to your place or wherever you do, because it could be your home, it could be a community center, it could be a local business, or any suitable space that can accommodate volunteers comfortably. What we've been doing in the parks each Thursday, that could be a staging location. Since we know folks were going to be there for the farmers market, that people can come pick up petition packets, get trained, learn what they need to do, supplies. We can also collect the work that folks have been doing on the daily. What we're asking, and again, this is all like sort of in progress as we're developing the campaign and figuring out how we engage not only the 13 people on this call, but the 180 folks who said that they were willing to talk to their friends and family about this issue. And we're just getting started. People are still signing in on that survey petition that we turned in. They're still signing in. We have like another 10 folks sign in this week. So that we just got to keep the momentum going and getting folks to understand where we are and what they can do. So yes, from those 200 people. So I dropped in the chat the link to go to our virtual campaign office. It is at our ActBlue website, and it's share this tab. I was sharing it earlier. This is what it will look like when you sign in. I have obviously an organizer of the group, so it has me to manage it. But if you go as a new person and see this group, excuse me, as a new person, the front page will say join this group and apply to join. And then this is where we can conduct our actions, our newsletter, our events. We can post, we can put it behind hidden, so it's not completely open to the public. They have to sign in and log in to see where our staging locations are, see who in the community is working on, and who they can reach out to, who's working on getting the signatures or supplying the materials. And the first action here is to sign up as a volunteer. So on this page here, signing up as a volunteer, and that is also on, I'll drop that link in a minute. So we've had 4 people sign in and fill out this form here of what they can do. I can door knock, I can recruit others, I can do computer work, I can phone bank, I can offer my home as a staging location, I can do snacks and hospitality. So the people who are doing the staging locations, maybe somebody can go take some cases of water to their house so that there's something available for the volunteers to stay cool. And attend community events, collect signatures, share info, or others. So David, the videos, the social media, check that out. Check that box and anything else that you're willing to do. Do me a favor and everybody, if you could take 2 minutes and go and fill this form out now, and let us know what days you're available, and this isn't like set in stone, like, but if you know that your Mondays, you just cannot do anything, then don't check Monday, right? Check every other day except for Monday. And then what hours are you available? And it looks like we also might put some morning hours, because some folks are home during the morning time. So maybe an 8 to 12, but 4 hours at a time, like just in general. This is not exact, but just in general, when are you available to help? So that way, when we have things going on, we know who we can reach out to and we know who can help. So can folks go to first join the group, join the Fontana Fast Forward group, and then take the first action of filling out the question. So yeah, Armando, that's a great question. And David, you're right. Stay on topic, present the facts, and really we are not out to argue with our neighbors and family members or friends or anything. What we're doing is sharing information and at least taking this to a vote. Just even somebody signing the petition doesn't mean they necessarily agree with us, but they said, okay, they're agreeing that this is something that the community should decide, and not 4 people arbitrarily who don't live in this here in this community. All right. So I think Thursday, we're working on a script. Thank you, Oscar. Yes, we're working on a script. We're working on the details. I will share really quickly some quick tips. But this is the first meeting. This is the first introduction to introduce folks to where we are and what is needed from you. And we're going to fill out all this stuff. The package that Jocelyn showed, we printed out 1,000 of the. I'm sorry, 1,000, almost. We printed out 100 packets, so we're ready to go with the information, the letter that Liz sent, the resolution text itself, and then the details, the information that where the resolution people say, oh, well, what does it actually say? Well, here's the link where they can go see for themselves on the city's website, or they can scan this. They can see the city council agenda, and they can see all these attachments. And then this complete package here, and I'll drop this link in the chat. This complete package is available to view, download, and print yourself, so that you have all of this. And then the final part of the petition before the signature stuff is, if you sign the petition, you will be supporting the request to have the council reconsider and repeal general plan amendment number and all the specifics. So the request is to have the city council reconsider and repeal, or to have the question put to a vote of the registered voters of the city of Fontana. So that's what we're asking. Very simple. And then here is
insert really quick,
go ahead,
like an example of that was like in Rialto, the mayor and another council member, they were able to put their item that they were, the referendum, the project, I should say, they were able to put it on the agenda. And if that night the council would have voted, to make it a ballot measure and put it to the voters, then it wouldn't have mattered how many signatures they would have needed to collect. So that's pretty much what we're asking, is for the city to just, put it on the agenda and put it to a vote. And this kind of goes back to the question of like, well, what if some people, actually do want the project? I mean, it's very, very, very few people that really do. But hey, I mean, their signature can put it on the ballot, and then they can vote for it at that time too. But it's really an option to give it to the people, and that's the that's the whole process that we're really fighting up against, is that all of these decisions have essentially been made by this terrible leadership, and the decisions that they're making are essentially affecting the people. So what better than to give it to the people for a vote? So I just wanted to insert that, like, that could be an option that the city council, they probably won't, but I mean, it'd be nice.
Yeah. Thank you, Liz, for that. No, you're right. So I'm scrolling through, while Liz was talking, I'm scrolling through the packet. So we did do a fact, frequently asked questions, who can sign the petition, what if it's not successful? So hopefully here there'll be tons of answers to any questions that you might have. We do have a website. This will be updated with all of the legal stuff as well, but here the website is explaining what a referendum is. This I just did very briefly on Thursday night. And here's where there's another link to join, again, the virtual office. And then we'll put a link to volunteer, and then we'll have that paperwork. Everything will be there. So going back to the packet, what's the process after I sign? You'll be supporting the request to have the council reconsider or to have the question put to a vote. Can I volunteer? Of course, and here's the link, and here's a QR code for votes. So please, everyone, go tonight and fill out the volunteer form, and then drop a plus in the chat that you have done it. That would be so helpful. So that way we know where we're starting, and we just need to build the numbers for this volunteer base. So let me, there. This tab, again, here it is. Click here, I dropped it in the chat for you all. And then going back to the packet, here is a whole thing about the volunteers, what they could be doing, spreading the word on social media. Some of you already said that. Donate to the cause. You can, we will start having a fundraising link. And I urge you to don't collect any cash or anything. This is a political campaign. So the money sort of does need to be tracked, needs to be reported. And so we'll give some training on how to do that, and how to, even the contributions that you make, buying some water, that sort of thing. Those are considered in-kind contributions, and we'll have a process for folks to report all of those things. So in the meantime, know that we are going to need some contributions. If you know any businesses, if the mountain bike community would like to throw in $10,000, that would be amazing. To save the mountains for, what they've been using for years now. Attend community meetings anytime. We only have 30 days, so let's go where the people are for sure, wherever they are. I think the concerts in the park are over, but school is starting. So then we have some captive audiences at the schools, in the parking, in the driveways coming in and leaving after school and before school. So if folks can do something like that, that's another option. You can host a campaign staging location like we talked about. And you could also write letters on top of the social media, writing letters to our elected officials. Even though we know the city council has already ruled on this in their sense, and they think it's a done deal and decided, let's still keep writing to them and express our displeasure and the fact that because they so don't listen to our community, we are having to do all of this work as volunteers just to save our community for a bigger vision of equity and justice and beauty and wild spaces and open spaces that have been promised, as well as future improvements to the area that they have neglected for us. We need to show them everything. And then I do want to emphasize that the whole complete packet has all of this information in Spanish. There might be some errors in translation. I relied on Google Translate, but for the most part, we want to make sure, unlike our city and our city council, we want to make sure that Spanish language speakers in our community are invited to participate in what is going on with all the information that they need to participate, make a decision, and join our, join with our community, with neighbors to build a community together. So that is what I worked on yesterday. And I think that is a good start to the to what we need to share with folks. And again, all of this I'll start to update the website. And if anybody has a website experience, we also need that. So please, there's the volunteer page. Here is the, and then if you fill out the volunteer action, then you automatically become a member of the VCO, the Virtual Campaign Office. Liz, question?
Yeah,
More
so going
comments?
to the virtual campaign office, I was thinking about maybe offering some office hours, some virtual office hours. So say, for example, I could make myself available from 3 to 4 p.m. or 4 to 5 p.m. Virtually. I can hop on Zoom. We can have a link that everybody can hop into, just kind of do a daily check or a check-in or check-out. Maybe we can have someone do a check-in and someone do a check-out, kind of, create a space in the virtual realm, utilizing Zoom or whatever to just for folks to check in really quick.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
And Oh, I wanted to answer Gabby's question really quick. She asked, when we have people sign, can we give them a paper noting where to vote? So they not only sign, but they also have to vote, right? Yeah. So basically what's going to happen is that we have to get those signatures of 12,000 plus in. If we fall short, there's no voting. It's over. So we don't want that. So for sure. So what'll happen is that, we want to get folks to sign. Once we get all our signatures in, then at that point we will be notified by the city clerk whether or not we made it. And if we did, it'll be a huge announcement that we will follow up with everybody that signed and let them know. And because it's going to go to a ballot measure, like I believe that they're going to get some ballot information that will be mailed to them. So it'll either be a special election, or B, it'll be part of the regular ballot. And I believe the first one coming up is in March for the primary. Is that right? In March. So they will know when the voting is. So there's, and we don't know what the city is going to decide to do, whether to hold a special election for this or to wait until the primary in March 2024. So it'll be hard to tell them, like, this is the voting date, because we don't know that. But first things first, we got to get those 12,000 plus signatures in. But thank you, Gabby, for asking.
And I think actually, that takes us back to this volunteer page. Here, the staging locations. One of the things that I think makes sense is after the day's over, we would just ask a host to call in on the Zoom and just kind of report of what happened that day. If you were doing stuff, if volunteers came over, if you were open, to hand out stuff, we just want to check in call. So that way we kind of know where we are on the daily. So that would just be another commitment. And of course, and even if you can't host a staging location, if you're a volunteer out there, we'll have an 8:30 debrief nightly. And then we'll need volunteers to lead that, so that I'm not doing it 7 days a week, or Liz isn't doing it 7 days a week, but we pass off and share the burden of organizing and talking about this, but then also making sure that everybody understands what's happening on the daily. So The other thing that I wanted to emphasize in terms of not only do we got to get the signatures, but we are looking at a campaign. This a campaign and an election. We do not know where, we do not know when. We're gonna have to be prepared. And the way to do that, so not only getting the 12,518 signatures, but we are going to need a majority of the 113,000 voters in Fontana to vote with us. We're going to need, and we don't know what the turnout will be. That will depend on the election, if they do it in the primary, or if they hold it they could hold it all the way till November of 2024. We don't know. We don't know what the turnout is or anything like that. And so we have to be prepared to have a campaign that says 50% plus one vote with us. So because it's so unknown, we know that we're going to need to find 50,000 supporters. And so when this goes to an election. So the additional goals besides getting signatures is our superstar volunteers. We are going to need you to recruit other volunteers, which is why the link and the QR code is in the packet of information. You can do this too. Do you just take a packet and just go down your street, or 15 people and you're going to a birthday party and they're here in Fontana, take this packet, get their signatures. If you find additional staging locations, somebody who's like, I want to help, but I can't go out, but people could come here, I can give out packets. Let us know about that. We want, of course, folks to contribute if that's a way that they can support. And we do want to prepare folks for the election, which will be decided by the city council, special election, next general election, or maybe the primary. That is going to be up to the council. But I will say this, the law says because we have filed within the 3 days to call a referendum, the ordinance that the city voted on Tuesday is not in effect. It is not allowed to take effect until we resolve this question, which means for the next 30 days, that builder, that developer, the city cannot proceed on anything having to do with the project. And then when we get our 12,518 signatures, then for the project still, the ordinance that passed the general plan amendment, that is not in effect until after the election is decided. So it is going to be also up on the developer to see how much pressure they put on the city to move fast, or if they're willing to delay as long as the city is to push out an election. So it really just depends. But we think and we believe that they're really feeling like we won't be prepared to fight back. And so it might be a really fast turnaround, counting on the idea that that's a lot of work. So that is where we are. Signature gathering, those are the goals that we need to set. Please sign up at the virtual campaign office. Please sign up to take action, volunteer. Let us know how you can help. And if anyone's really great at computer, we do need help managing all of this information, including the additional materials like the direct documents in the project that says exactly what they're going to do and why they say that it's okay and why it's not a good plan. So folks can see for themselves what the land swap deal was. They can see for themselves what this rock fall barrier looks like. They can see for themselves what this disturbance off the project site. So they're disturbing a huge chunk of stuff that doesn't belong to them. And then there's just more additional information that I went through and highlighted and like I had a question on. and they said that, this project doesn't have a substantial adverse effect on a scenic vista. And they said, oh, it's minor technical changes or additions. They're on crack. And so this information is available to folks. And again, more of the IR stuff, but when people ask and question, you don't have to know all of this stuff to just say, look, is it fair that the city made this decision and the community didn't even get to really know what the project was about? We think there should take some time and let the community decide. So, Marissa, you have a quick question. Yes.
Yes, I was just wondering if you can please resend the link in the chat. I joined a little late, so it's not popping up for me.
Okay, there it is.
Thank you.
There's the volunteer link. You're welcome. Okay. Okay. So I want to wrap up. It's been about an hour since almost an hour since we started. We did get started at 7:45 just to allow folks time to get in. And here's what I want to emphasize. As we're out talking to neighbors and voters in the community, we're going to hear a litany of other problems, other issues that folks have been complaining about. And this is just a small list of what we collected over the 5 or 6 Thursdays that we were out at the Southridge Park Farmers Market night. And so some of this, I'm sure you are already familiar with. Let me share that screen with you. The land use, meaning the warehouses, the open space, of course, housing areas being rezoned. Do we really have safe routes to schools if kids are having to walk through warehouses to get where they need to go, where the heavy trucks are, not only with their traffic, the truck routes, the toxic emissions and noise, but also the truck accidents that we have been seeing weekly, sometimes daily, where we have a flipped tractor trailer. Of course, the more amenities, especially on the south side, where this expanding SWIP has really disconnected the Southridge community from the rest of the city. Restaurants, services, banks, where's the programs for teens, the quality jobs, and really just the limited voice that this community has faced over these last several years. And so we know that. We know these are the things. And so we know that this is just one big project that has gotten the attention. But there are tons of things that we could be doing better in this city. And the only way it's going to happen is to start talking to our neighbors and coming together and fighting for it. So that is just the beginning of this conversation. And right now, obviously, we have 30 days to get 12,518 signatures. Tomorrow, we will have, Liz is talking to the lawyer, we'll finalize the petition packets alongside the packets that Jocelyn has and Jasmine has. We'll start setting up staging locations. I'll be back in town. I'm in Laughlin. I've been working this weekend, but we were here for a family vacation. I'll be back in town tomorrow. Our home will also be, I'm on the south side of Fontana near, I'm about a mile away from Fontana High School on San Bernardino Avenue. And we also need folks up in the north end, because while this is impacting the Southridge community directly, it is a citywide issue, and we have to engage community members from throughout the city. So if you know folks up in the north end, up in the downtown area, we need people to we need signatures everywhere, because the whole city is going to be asked to vote on this. And we need to let folks know what is happening and make them aware so that they're on our side when it comes down to it. 12,518 signatures by August 24th. We're counting on everyone. If you have any questions at all, you can always reach out to me directly, 262-2880. Drop my number in the chat. The best email for this project to reach me and other leaders is going to be fontanaforward@gmail.com. You can also contact us from the website. And this video is going to be posted on the only YouTube channel that I could live stream to, Catalina's List. There is also the press conference that we did last Monday before the city council meeting, so you can share that with folks and friends. Are there any last questions, urgent matters? And I hope I covered a lot. I know I covered a lot, but I hope I didn't overwhelm you. But this is a big thing before us. And they make it hard. They make it hard for us to fight back, but it's not impossible, and we can do it. So any closing words? I would actually love to hear from anybody. Closing words, and then if you have, you know, an experience in that open space area that, you know, will forever be a memory of why you love Southridge, or why you love that community, or why folks from throughout the city and surrounding areas come and visit us and use those hills. So I'm gonna.
I believe there was a question indicating if it was only written signatures that were permitted, or if there was also digital signatures. So I just wanted clarification if you knew.
For sure. So in order for the, actually, where is it? The additional information material in the frequently asked questions, how do I sign? How do I sign? Or how can I sign? Yeah, here you go. How can I sign the petition? You must sign the petition in person. It actually doesn't have to be at designated sign-up locations, but it has to be in person. It is not a digital petition. A person has to put their legal voting address, legal voting name, and they have to fill it completely in person, which is why then we have multiple folks collecting signatures. And then the people collecting the signatures, we saw the requirements there, where the people collecting the signatures have to, they have to be over 18, and they have to verify that they're the ones who collected these signatures. They witness for themselves that they provided the information to people, and that they, and that the person signed it. We don't have to check their IDs or anything like that, but we do have to certify that, to our best knowledge, we got a qualified voter and they shared their correct information as best as we can verify. Does that answer the question?
Yes, it does. Thank you so much for clarifying.
You got it. All right. Jocelyn, and have we reached out to the RC club that uses that location? I don't know what location Armand, RC club. Oh, the biking club? Oh, or the remote control place. We haven't, I mean, I don't know, I haven't. I've been talking to community members. If you have a connection, all hands on deck, all ideas we need to move forward on. Don't wait for permission. Make the contacts, and we'll bring all these folks together. And that's what we'll do on the nightly, thank you, on the nightly folks. So the city clerk is the one responsible, Oscar, for verifying the signatures.
Can I go next, Bobby Joe?
Yeah, please. Yeah, I called you, but you weren't answering. Go ahead.
Oh no, I thought it was the person called first. But I was gonna say, you know, a memory, you know, why this place is so special, because I really want to emphasize this. You know, a lot of folks here know I've been gone for a long time, but there's always this like feeling in my heart when you come home and you see those canyons. Because when you fly in to Ontario, you know, when I know that I'm close to home, just seeing the people I love the most, these mountains, like you can see them from the plane. You're like, oh look, I live right there, right? And it wasn't really, I mean, I've always been very passionate about the environment, but it wasn't really literally until yesterday. You know, I've been really upset about this whole thing that they're trying to build. Well, my parents were dancing their dance for their 50th renewal, and those canyons in the back were in all the pictures, and it just looks so beautiful. You know, I want to be able to see that still in the next 50 years. You know, it's something that I'll keep forever. But for me, these mountains, these hills in the back of my house remind me, and they landmark me that this is home, you know. And sometimes you don't know what you have till it's gone. And I lived in very condensed cities, like where you have to drive an hour to 2 hours to even see a hill. When it rains, these mountains, these canyons are green and they're beautiful. And, you know, the value that we have in something that we see every day, you know, sometimes we take it for granted. And I think that, you know, I don't know. I won't move back, Oscar, trust me. I'm older now, and you know, this is insane, but I love my home. And just the other day, my 9-year-old goddaughter told me, and it's so powerful how these young kids are really open their eyes to what's going on. But she said, "Hey, who do I talk to in order for them to stop having big trucks coming through my school? Because I don't want my friends to be ran over when they're trying to go to McDonald's." She goes to Canyon Crest Elementary School. She's 9.
Wow.
And you know, we have to think about why we don't stay in our homes, in our hometowns, because even if they're going to build these condos, and their debate is that homelessness is going to get rid of homelessness. No, it's not. These are not going to be affordable. The medium income in our community, we can't afford what they're trying to build. People can barely afford to stay in the homes that they're in now. It's going to again create more gentrification, but also it's going to create an unstable, you know, economy for our community. And I think that's really the big deal here. It's like, no, it's not going to take care of the problems that we have with opioids or homelessness or any of that sort. It's just a band-aid solution to say, oh, look, we're not building warehouses, we're also building homes. Well, actually, you're not doing strategic decisions that are the well-being for the long term of our community. So, you know, we have a battle of up ahead, but I do think that if we put our hearts together, we can do it. We can learn from each other. And I love to meet my new neighbors that I have never met. And I just wanted to share that beautiful connection that I feel when I come home and I'm driving up Canyon Crest and I'm about to walk in the door and hug my father and know that, you know, these canyons in the back of my house really signify that I'm home, you know. And
Right.
this is kind of where I wanted to share.
Oh, thank you so much, Jocelyn. Thank you. So while you were talking, I opened up the folder of David Escobar's drone photos, and I will put links to this again on the website so folks can have them too and take a look at them. He said he's open for us to share and use these. We're just going to add the photo credit, so that's what I'm working on right now. But look at these pictures. They want to take away this whole thing. Does anybody else have another story? Another thought? Jennifer, please.
So, hi everyone. My name is Jennifer Cardenas. My pronouns are she, ella. And I am one of your neighbors up here in, I don't know what it's called, because I grew up just knowing Fontana, and until it got really political where we called it very much different things. But in the middle, kind of by downtown, historic downtown. I know the history of our city. But one thing I do know about all of y'all is not just the history, but that park is somewhere you can go and listen to birds. I am a avid bird watcher, mostly because my abuelita loved pájaros and she loved looking at all the birds. I kind of learned to make it a hobby because the reality is that natural spaces have never been made for people of color to feel comfortable. And one thing that I am trying to do is reclaim that for myself. So going down and being able to be in those spaces reminds me of, I guess reminds me for a second that we can have clean air, that we can enjoy the birds, and we can enjoy like pausing. This idea that the city keeps trying to push as though the unhoused population is the problem really shows us that they're neglecting the fact that they themselves abandoned that area, which also tells us that they aren't really looking to support us in anything that is impacting our air quality. We know this because of the warehouses, but this is just another staple of them making sure that they remind us that we're not worthy of breathing clean air. And those trees and those birds are a reminder for me that we can have some peace and some of that clean air. So I'm really ready to join y'all. You know, I know y'all say South Fontana, Southridge, whatever y'all want to call it, but I'm here for y'all because, you know, we're in the same city, just different traffic.
Thank you, honey. Thank you, Jennifer. And again, this is a citywide issue. There's a difference between traveling 15 minutes from the downtown or 20 minutes to this area and having to drive an hour or 2 hours to an open space area. And, you know, families walking that trail on a Sunday morning, the rock formations, the view, the natural plants, and actually, you know, the restoration that's possible. This is our chair of Sierra Club California came on a hike with me and was pointing things out and showing me different things. I am not a hiker, but for this trail, you don't have to be. It's an easy walk, and it's well used, and we deserve not only for it to not go away, but for it to realize its full potential and clean it up, make it safe, have the amenities that we need, but do not disturb the large vistas that we've come to enjoy. There's James, my friend James came with us too. So this is what we're saving. This is what we're fighting for. This is a treasure that we cannot lose. So thank you everyone so much for joining in. Again, go to the virtual campaign office, volunteer at bit.ly, volunteer for Fontana. Share this information with as many folks as possible, and please fill out the volunteer form so that we can start sending out information on staging locations of where folks can get the information, where they can get trained, and how we can start getting the 400 signatures we need daily to meet our goal. Thank you, everyone. I'm going to stop the recording and stay on and answer any questions if anybody wants to stay on. But thank you. I am going to give a quick shout out for the folks who stayed the whole time, and I appreciate your trust in that what we're doing is the right thing. What we're doing is what this community needs and deserves, and we deserve better. We deserve better than this very poorly planned project that takes away so much. So good night on the recording and